I did want to talk today about women's leadership and about taking risks and blazing trails, and I'm sorry to tell you, there isn't a single picture involved. So, over the years, we've gotten a lot of advice about how to get ahead on those trails. Work twice as hard as the guys. Fake it till you make it. Don't be afraid to fail. And these days you hear, lean in. I'm sure I speak for many of us who feel like I've been leaning in my entire life, sometimes so far in that I've toppled forward and fallen right onto my face. But like women everywhere, I've done what we've all done. You pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you try again to find that elusive career fulcrum. It's not that I object to the lean-in concept. It's just that after watching the challenges faced by women at 7 major news organizations over 35 years, I don't think it's the right metaphor to explain why we continue to have trouble getting ahead in the workplace. The problem isn't the direction of the lean. It's the precariousness of the balance. How easy it is to fall over, forward or backward, practicing journalism while female. How easy it is to be labeled bossy and pushy and difficult for the same behaviors that make men leaders and assertive and decisive. It's why so many women take themselves out of a fight they feel they can't win. And it's why we begin with a significant majority of young women graduating from journalism schools and end up a generation later with a minority of middle-aged women leading newsrooms. So as I think about where we are with women's leadership in media and other professions, I feel really conflicted. I feel pride in the strides so many women have made. And did you see that on Friday, The Guardian just appointed its first female editor in the 194-year history of the publication. So that's just fabulous. And I feel gratitude, humility, and frankly, downright astonishment about the career that I've been lucky enough to have. And yet, I find myself really mad. I'm mad that there are fewer women running big or small newspapers than there were 10 years ago. I'm mad that many digital companies, which had the opportunity to upend decades of discriminatory hiring and promotion practices at legacy institutions, instead seem largely to reflect the most sexist parts of the technology industry crossed with the most sexist parts of the old media industry. Mad can be good. Mad can translate into energy and action, and I hope we can use it to focus us to rally again for change. The financial upheaval that characterized our business for the last 10 years has all but killed off the diversity efforts that were once mounted in many newsrooms. Now, I am not saying that these were perfect programs, but at least they were top-of-mind conversations. Today, women and people of color continue to be hurt because these efforts have largely disappeared into a sea of red ink and disruptive technologies. Okay, so that's the reality we live with. What it means is we can't wait anymore. We can't wait for the business model to sort itself out. We can't wait for a more predictable, orderly time to return. We can't wait for a slow news day. That day is never going to come. Now is the time. Once and for all, we need to create the kind of newsrooms that will allow women to achieve true and lasting success at all levels of the organization and no matter what the platform. So what can we do? I think as journalists, we can start with what we're so good at when we investigate other businesses. Shine the spotlight on the problem, keep it there, and refuse to let it recede into the shadows. So let's stay on top of the numbers, our numbers. We need to know what's going on in our own workplaces, how in or out of whack our numbers are when it comes to women in leadership and next up positions. Do a personnel audit. Pound away at the empirical evidence, because what you measure is what you value. At National Geographic, for example, 5 of the 12 people on the executive committee are women. Okay, that's not bad. But if you were to include me and the woman who's the CEO of the TV channel, that would be 7 of 12. That would be better. Next, We can't wage this fight alone. We need to make sure the men in our offices, whether they're our colleagues or our bosses, feel included in these discussions, invested in the outcome, and not the object of some anti-man crusade. We need to coach our younger sisters on the confidence gap, point out can-do role models when they get scared about family issues, push them to negotiate their salaries, urge them to sit at the table. If each of us did this for just one young woman, just one, imagine the difference it would make. Next, each of us lucky enough to make hiring decisions needs to do our part. Getting a more diverse workforce doesn't happen by accident. It is an intentional effort to change the composition of our newsroom, and it's really simple, and we all know it, but it happens person by person and job by job. We have to talk about this. Yes, we also have to talk about the business model and the digital transformation and reaching a new generation of readers. But we can't, again, let this fall off the table. We allowed ourselves to get used to seeing fewer and fewer female leaders. And we got used to shutting up about it because we were told we had bigger problems to solve. I no longer buy that argument. Diverse workplaces with diverse leadership are more successful businesses and produce more accurate, attuned journalism. Finally, the "You Go Girls" chorus, when women are hired, needs to become day-to-day support once they're in place. We need to give women the same freedom to make mistakes that the men have, because these women are going to make mistakes, just like the men do. But the women's mistakes will be more public because more people are watching how they're doing the job. They'll be more closely scrutinized. They'll be more harshly judged. There's a lot we can't be sure about in this business. There's a lot we simply can't know. But there is one thing we do know. There is no justification for opportunity that's not equal, pay that's not commensurate with the work, treatment that's preferential or discriminatory. Journalism is about asking the right questions, in the right place, at the right time. So here's my question for you. What are we waiting for? Thank you.